अनुभव गम्य है, सूझत सूझत सूझ।
Jai Sadgurudev to all. I welcome you all to yet another awaited session of our weekly Saturday online Satsang series. I take this occasion to congratulate each one of you on board today for taking some time from your very busy schedules and meeting us on this platform. Today we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic and yet a very relevant one in our day-to-day life, fooled in worldly desires. Addictions are something that we are helplessly doing without having its real need in life. Many things in our day-to-day life we just do, and we keep on doing it repeatedly without understanding its real need or its real purpose. Worldly subjects effortlessly give momentary pleasures. What's wrong in spending entire life after that? What should be an ideal human life and what should be an ideal human purpose? For questions so many and for answers to many more, this session is dedicated to. As usual, I am privileged to be joined by our global international panel today. We are being joined by Abhaji from Australia. Rekhaji is joining us from USA. And Hemantji, the Prime Speaker of the day, he is joining us from India. Sankalpji is joining from India. Vijay Kumar ji, who is our Prime Speaker of the day too, and will take us further into this particular, into the depth of this topic. He will be joining from USA, and I am joining from India today, and we're also glad to have a child speaker on the panel today, Sanat, who is joining from USA. So let me congratulate Sanat to be a part of this particular journey. Welcome, Sanat. Sanat, am I audible to you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
Hey, glad to have you on this board. You sound to be a very, a mature man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, great. So you are ready?
Yes.
Oh, great. So we are going to have a very, very interesting session today. So Vijayji will be the Prime Speaker of the day. This session already had the privilege of having him on several occasions and enlightening us on several deep spiritual topics. Vijayji, as we already know, many of us know him. He has been enlightening us on several deep spiritual seekers on the path of his spiritual exploration for a very, very long time. He brings with himself the perspective of a both modern logical thinker and also that of a spiritual seeker. It's always a pleasure to have you on this platform, Vijayji. Welcome. So let's start our daily session, our routine session with the traditional way. We will get started by welcoming our Sadgurudev and by welcoming the divine energy to bless this occasion with its presence by reciting the Swagat Gan, which will be later followed by Mangal Gan. With Mangal Gan, we will immerse ourselves in the thought of Sadgurudev and pray to him for the eradication of several differences prevailing in the society. And to take us to Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan, we will start the session with Sanat right away. So Sanat, I hope you are ready, and I will hand over the control to you to start with Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan. Over to you, Sanat.
Thank you, Anurag uncle. Jai Sach Gurudev to everyone.
Jai Sadgurudev.
आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए दोष दूर गुण दूर करके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए गम गति ज्ञान गरजन शक्ति द्वारा हटाइए खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर भक्त जन नवाइए जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक शान आन बचाइए आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए विश्व शांति also known as Mangal Kaam. विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को चाहिए वर्ग द्वंद्व शांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए सार्वभौम समर्पि सदा अध्यात्म राज्य बनाइए देश भाषा भाव जगमय ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को चाहिए बोले सद्गुरुदेव की जय।
That was indeed a wonderful recitation, singing of Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan. I really congratulate you, Sanat, for having such a wonderful voice at such a very short age. With Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan, we welcomed Sadgurudev's energy. We welcomed the divine energy to grace the occasion and bless us all with its presence, with its powers. Mangal Gan, we prayed for the universal peace, for the eradication of differences and a permanent peace in the society around us. Thanks a lot, Sanat, again for putting forward these soulful words of Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan across. Moving towards the next segment of the session, the Swarved recitation, the Swarved part. As we all know, and as I have been reciting, this organization, and not just this organization, this creation itself has been blessed by Sadgurudev with his unique creation of Swarved, the unparalleled book of the guide of spirituality. This book was written by Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj on his own path of his spiritual exploration. The source of knowledge in this book was Sadgurudev's own spiritual experience of Brahm Vidya knowledge. In this particular book, he doesn't quote from this book and that book and from several sources. Instead, Sadgurudev writes his own spiritual experiences in its pure form. They are depicted in this particular book. And that's why this has become, and this is, an encyclopedia of spirituality. So let's hear some relevant compositions from this book. And to do that, we will move to Abhaji from Australia, who will take us to the recitation journey of Swarved. I request her to recite few compositions of this great scripture, and I pass on the control to her. Abhaji, over to you.
Thank you, Anuragji. Jai Sadgurudev, everyone. Today's topic is fooled in worldly desires. Human being in general looks for achieving their desires. These desires are infinite. One cannot achieve all desires. Man is the one which leading human beings for such desires. As a result, we human beings get fooled by man. Sadgurudev has extensively elaborated this topic in his Swarved. Some of them I have collected and would like to recite. मन की चाल कुचाल है, जी वहीं वट चलाओ, मन फंदा में जीव पड़े, बिन गुरु कवन छोड़ाओ. The characteristics of man is bad. Man drives Jeev towards the downfall path, which gives sorrow. And Jeev gets driven towards the subjectly joy and gets trapped with man. Without Sadguru, who else is there to free Jeev from the man and life and death bondage? माया सींचे दुख मिले, सींचत बबुल में काट, सेवे प्रभु अमृत मिले, सदगुरु भव दुख काट. Man gets joy from Indriya Sukh, but when hurdle appears in that Indriya Sukh, or that Sukh is taken away due to any reason, then it hurts to free Jeev from the man. Therefore, spiritual seekers for their upliftment should detach worldly desire, lust and greed and meditate to achieve Almighty God. For example, cactus tree growth will land up with spikes. Likewise, engrossed in Indriya Jan Sukh, as a result, soul only gets sorrow. Therefore, by doing Prabhu Seva Bhakti through Sadguru, soul is liberated from the bondage of life and death cycle, and as a result, Amrit Paramanand is achieved. मन मुख जीव सुख ना मिले, मन हरि रह नित साथ, जग जीवन भर मावता, सदगुरु शरण सनाथ. Man is the biggest enemy of Jeev. It is associated with Jeev since many lives. Jeev is tied up with many kinds of hope and lust, which is originated from man. Until Jeev is detached from man, peace cannot be achieved. Jeev cannot achieve happiness by following man. Man makes soul unhappy by taking it towards the worldly vision and keeps Jeev in its grip. Therefore, Jeev should leave the man behind and should go under the shelter of Sadguru. And then soul will lead towards a spiritual life and will achieve joy and peace. विद्युत से गति चपल है, मन कर चाल अपार, इंद्र न संचालन करे, कर्म वर्ण विस्तार. Man is faster than the speed of electricity. It creates many illusions. It stimulates indriya for diversifying karma and social classifications. Soul gets lost in such karma and social classifications, and as a result does not achieve Chetan Swarup and Parbrahm. The resultant is the shackle and sorrow of life and death cycle. चक्षु के चेतन करण को एक में लेहु मिलाए, ऊर्ध भूमि को चढ़ी सको, अन्य न कोई उपाय. Soul in itself consists of two formats, namely Jad and Chetan. In its purest form, soul enjoys the Parbrahm internally, which is beyond the nature and its existence, whereas outer world enjoyment takes place as inert in this nature. Knowledge of nature takes place when consciousness bonds with the inert. The time when Jeev gets detached from Prakriti nature is called Videha Mukti. During that time period, in its full power, it experiences only Parbrahm. During that time, worldly experience disappears. When soul is Chetan, then its characteristic will not be Jad, rather it will be Chetan. Therefore, it has been described in this couplet that Chetan vision by which this physical body visualizes the outer world. One should put together that vision with the soul to go beyond the Prakriti Mandal to Yog Mandal, which is Samadhi Mandal. Then only one can experience the Chetan Shabda vision and its enjoyment. There is no other way to achieve Samadhi Mandal. Therefore, be detaching soul from physical body and following Sadguru's technique of going beyond the conscious world.
How man has confused us in this infinite cycle of desires. How are we fooled in this particular infinite cycles by man? Sarved mentions the solution also, which Avaji later recited, Chakshu ke chetan karan ko ek mile hu milaye, urdh bhumi ko chadi sako, anya na koi upay. That's the greatness of Sadgurudev. That's the greatness of Sarved. It has answers to everything. It has answers to almost all questions that can be asked and that can be sought out. To take us further into the topic of this infinite chain of worldly desires, we will now move our attention to the prime speaker of the day, Vijay Kumar ji, who has joined us today from USA. As I earlier stated, Vijay ji brings with himself the perspective of both a yogi, a spiritual seeker, and also the aspect or the perspective of a person who is a logical based thinker and is in day-to-day a professional life is associated with softwares. Vijay Kumar ji, I will like to pass on the control to you, and I would request you to take us deep into this particular topic. Over to you, Vijay Kumar ji.
Jai Sadgurudev, everybody. Thank you, Sant Anurag Dev ji. सब देवों का देव है, परम पुरुष का रूप, बिन गुरु प्रभु जीवना मिले, भटकी रहे भवकूप. तीन लोक नवखंड में गुरु से बड़ा न कोई, करता करे न करी सके, गुरु करे सो। Fooled in worldly desires. That's what we are going to explore today. Are we tricked by worldly pleasures? How much happiness would be enough for us? Even after having the materialistic pleasures of the entire cosmos, will we be ever satisfied? The greed of the mind cannot be quenched with any amount of materialistic pleasures. It just cannot relinquish the lust that it has for more and more and more. That's what says Svarved, written by Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. तीन लोक की संपदा आए बसे घर माही, तब हूँ मन शीतल नहीं और मिलन मन माही. Despite we all agree that all pleasures in earthly subjects have always been short-lived. We agree to that. We are still after materialistic pleasures. From poor to riches, from illiterate to scholar, from childhood to the age of decay, we have always been after sensory gratification. But yet, we are the same, unquenched, incomplete, thirsty for more. Are we missing to understand something very fundamental about human mind? Maybe. Are we getting fooled in the worldly pleasures? Let us dive little deep into the two states of human mind. Human mind is found in two states. What does Svarved say? Svarved says, शुद्ध अशुद्ध दो भेद है, मन ही अवस्था होय, इंद्रिय न युक्त अशुद्ध है, शुद्ध सोम रस होय. The mind always stays in either of the two states. Blissfully, the chilled state of purity, or the burning state of impurity. In purity, it is chilled and it is chilled in never-ending bliss. And in impurity, it is burning with fires of desires. So our mind is in one of these two states. If we are ignorant, our mind is burning with desires. It has fire in it. When the individual is ignorant about the treasure of the bliss which is hidden just very inside, mind continues to be associated with sensory organs. For what? For grabbing worldly subjects. In the chase of worldly subjects, mind is in impure state. It is in the second state, the impure state, in which it always has burning fires of desires. It has fire in it. And only when the soul is enlightened with the experience of the bliss from inside, it is then the mind is chilled in the shower of never-ending bliss, and the fire of the mind is set off permanently. By the way, We feel good with materialistic pleasures, don't we? Though it's short-lived, but it is good. At current impure state of mind, when we have burning desires, if anybody asks us to relinquish the desire itself, it appears impossible. It is just impossible if we are burning with desires. So what's wrong in chasing worldly pleasures? Dear friend, we have just a few breaths in human life. Just a few breaths. If we waste them in futile chase, only God knows when we shall get the opportunity again. This is a rare opportunity. Hence, it is better to concentrate on goal of human life. And it is wise to reserve just the healthy amount of worldly subjects for self. Just the healthy amount, not less, not more. And utilize the rest that you have gathered in service of those who are deprived of it. That's what the wise people suggest. What does Sarved says? Why should we not be just after worldly desires? Sarved clarifies it very beautifully. Sarved says, Trishna mar vivek se, चाह से होय अचाह, तृष्णा शांत न भोग से, अगिन शांत trinalaah. What it means is, desire of mind is like fire. Please pay attention. Desire of mind is like fire. And worldly subjects are like dry grass. Just like, pouring dry grass in fire will only grow the strength of the fire. The worldly pleasures similarly would only amplify the intensity of worldly desires. The burning desires of mind can only be chilled by the wisdom, by deserting the desire itself. Again, it is easy to understand that a fire would automatically chills when it is deserted without any combustible substance, right? If you don't put any flammable substance in it, automatically it will set off. So the choice is ours, whether to be allured by short-lived pleasures and remain ever trapped in the world of sorrow, incompleteness, and end our opportunity of human life just in these futile chase, or utilize the human opportunity for the eternal bliss, which is also possible in human life. Dear friend, Prathmacharya, Sadguru Shri Dhamchand Dev Ji Maharaj states that we will die chasing after materialistic pleasures, but our lust for them will not die. So this is a never-ending trap, and the only way out is to transform our mind from impurity to purity, from burning state to blissfully chilled state. That's the only way out. This very question can come in people's mind. Can one stay blissed out without materialistic pleasure? Because we can debate against it only when we have a choice. Do we have a choice? Can we stay blissed out without materialistic pleasure? This question reflects the burning state of the mind. This question can arise only in those mind which is not yet chilled with the bliss that you already have inside. When your mind is chilled in inner bliss, this question vanishes by itself. It needs no answer. So it is high time to pay attention to the bigger aspect of life. It is time to take pause from the race towards pleasures and ponder, what is soul? What kind of bliss is ever quenching? Who are we? It is time to accept the cycle of birth and rebirth. Reincarnation happens, my dear friend. Reincarnation happens, proving that we are not the body but a soul. If you still have no trust, Shanti Devi is the recent example of reincarnation. Shanti Devi. Her authentic story is available in Wikipedia. That says, I'm just reading out Wikipedia of Shanti Devi, just few lines. As a little girl in 1930s, she began to claim to remember details of a past life. When she was about 4 years old, she told her parents that her real home was in Mathura, where her husband lived about 145 kilometers from her home in Delhi. Discouraged by her parents, she ran away from home at age 6, trying to reach Mathura because she started remembering everything, so she wanted to explore. Back home, when she was in Delhi, she used to speak about it in school, that she was married and had died 10 days after having given birth to a child. Interviewed by her teacher and headmaster, she used words from Mathura dialect, and she also spoke a name, Kedarnath. She said, that's the name of my husband. The headmaster located a merchant by that name in Mathura who had lost his wife Lugdi Devi 9 years earlier, 10 days after having given birth to a son. So headmaster contacted Kedarnath to come to Delhi. And what Kedarnath did, he pretended to be headmaster's own brother. But what happened was very amazing. Shanti Devi immediately recognized him. Not only him, but she also recognized Lugdi Devi's son who traveled along with him. As she knew several details of Kedarnath's life with his wife, he was soon convinced that Shanti Devi was indeed the reincarnation of Lugdi Devi. When Mahatma Gandhi heard about the case, he met the child and set up a commission to investigate. The commission traveled with Shanti Devi to Mathura, arriving on certain date. There she recognized several family members, including the grandfather of Lugdi Devi. She found out that Kedarnath had neglected to keep a number of promises he had made to Lugdi Devi on her deathbed. The commission's report concluded that Shanti Devi was indeed the reincarnation of Lugdi Devi. Dear friend, the only reason I cited the story of Shanti Devi, aka Lugdi Devi, is because we were also some other identity prior to this life, would become another identity after death. Saints and Sadguru have preached very emphatically that it is very rare to get life of a human being. If the valuable breath of human life is wasted after temporary pleasures, then nobody can save the soul from vicious cycle of sorrows in other spaces. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj preaches in Swarved. Sadgurudev says, नर यह उत्तम देह है, सिद्ध धाम सब दे, नष्ट करे तुम शयन में, पारस क्यों नहीं ले. The human life is most equipped to fulfill all fourfold duties of earth, dharma, kam, and at the end moksha. How can you waste such valuable opportunity in slumber? How can you waste it without being awake about the treasure that you already have inside? The treasure of bliss that alone can quench you. Now that we know that treasure is just very inside soul, how to experience the bliss? How to experience it? This is where the eternal wisdom of Brahma Vidya, known as Vihangam Yoga today, comes into effect. One needs to seek shelter of able Sadguru of Vihangam Yoga, who is capable to guide us throughout the journey of meditation, from controlling the mind to transcending into the realm of consciousness, from self-realization to the bliss realization, not because he has read about it, but because he has himself been through it. Jai Sadgurudev. With this I conclude. Over to you, Anurag Devji.
Thank you very much, Vijayji. That was indeed an enlightening discourse on the subject of worldly desires. Very rightfully brought out by Vijayji, the futile chase, and more importantly, realizing that we are a part of a futile chase. We are the ones doing the futile chase. I think that's the most important part, the realization part. And probably, as Vijayji brought it out, it's not going to happen in the absence of an able Sadguru, an able spiritual master. It takes one to be with Sadguru, to be a Shishya of Sadguru, to be a seeker of Sadguru, to realize that there is a futile chase, there is a futile journey that's happening in our day-to-day life. Whatever is permanent may not be in what we think it is. The answer may lie beyond this particular cycle, which seems to be infinite. That was really a wonderful discourse session by Vijayji. I really congratulate you for enlightening us more on this topic. We will take a more deeper look based on the questions that are already popping up on Slido and through the WhatsApp numbers into this particular topic a little while from now. Now we move towards the next segment of the session. We move our attention to Sankalpji from India, whom I will request for presenting a melodious bhajan. Sankalpji, over to you.
Thank you, Anuragji. Jai Sadgurudev, everyone. Here is the bhajan taken from the collection of Sahib. भवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, भवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, के तोहरा संग जाए, भवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, आवे के बेरिया सबके हो जान, दुआरा पे बाजेला बधाई, बधाई, दुआरा पे बाजेला बधाई, जाए के बेरिया के हो न जाने, जाए के बेरिया के हो न जाने, हंस अकेले चली जाए भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, के तोहरा संग जाए भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए। देहरी पकड़ के मैं हरि रोए, बाह पकड़ के भाई भाई, बाह पकड़ के भाई। देहरी पकड़ के मैं हर रोए, बाह पकड़ के भाई। बीचे अगनवा माता जी रोए, बीचे अगनवा माता जी रोए, बबुआ के हो खेला विदाई भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए। कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, सद्गुरु शरण में जाए जाए, सद्गुरु शरण में जाए। कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, सद्गुरु शरण में जाए। जो यह पद के अर्थ बताई है, जो यह पद के अर्थ बताई है, जगत पार हो जाए भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए। आवे के बेरिया सबके हो जानल, दुआरा पे बाजेला बधाई बधाई, दुआरा पे बाजेला बधाई। जाए के बेरिया के हो न जाने, जाए के बेरिया के हो न जाने, हंस अकेले चली जाए भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए, भंवरवा के तोहरा संग जाए। सद्गुरुदेव की जय। ओवर टू यू अनुराग जी।
Thank you very much, Sankalp ji. I almost lost track of time. That was so melodious. That was so heart-touching, and that was so reverberating with the energy. Very rightfully said, and brought out the truth that we directly, indirectly discussing on the forum currently. Ke tohra sang jai. At last, as a part of this fertile chase, what do we achieve? What do we take away ourselves to the next afterlife? We have so many questions coming on Slido and from WhatsApp, from seekers, that I would, without wasting time, like to dive into the question answer session with Hemant ji. Hemant ji this platform had the privilege of having him before as prime speaker too. Hemantji brings with himself the perspective of a former NASA scientist and as well as a deep spiritual explorer. So none could be better than him suited on this particular occasion to take out some few of these questions. Hemantji, I hope I am clear and audible to you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Anuragji.
Yes, so we will start. So we have a little less time left, so we will take 2 or 3 questions as the time permits. And as I can see, the most relevant, I think all the questions are relevant, but I would like to pick up a question where the seeker is trying to relate between the goal of human life and the futile chase, as our prime speaker Vijay ji was mentioning. So the question is very simple: the goal of human life, futile chase. Please elaborate a little. So if you could throw some more light on this particular aspect.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to listen to the topics every week, and I'm sure the listeners are getting benefited. The goal of human being is loud and clear. We don't get enough time to go through the scriptures, but the rishis and seers and sages have been the real scientists who have actually invested time to understand what's the purpose of being human. The rishi says, Bhogap Vargartham Drishyam. It's very clear that it's not that we don't have desires. We do have desires. Actually, Iksha, Gyan and Prayatna, the desire, the knowledge, and the ability to take an action is inherent quality of a soul, of a conscious entity. And that's what defines us. But at the same time, we are also engrossed in worldly pleasures. But is it the final thing, or is it enough to understand? The Rishi says, Bhogap Varg Artham Drishyam. It's not just the sensual pleasures, but it's also that we need to understand the real aim of being human. And the real aim and ambition is to achieve the moksha or the liberation from this incessant cycle. We should not just be fooled, and we should not just get engrossed in these worldly desires because they never satisfy. We relentlessly, ruthlessly work day in, day out to achieve, possess. We crave, we yearn for everything. And at the end of the day, we feel that we are satisfied, but that's not the truth. The history has told us repeatedly. Alexander the Great has last 3 wishes. And the last 3 wishes, he has clearly brought out that when one leaves this world, no matter how great you were, no matter, even if you have literally conquered the entire world or even half the globe, you would still leave empty-handed. And no wonder a few years back when Bill Gates was the number 1, when he had earned all the riches of the world, he had mentioned in the press conference that I always thought that I'll get peace of mind with the wealth which I have earned, but there is a disconnect. I was wrong. You cannot get the peace of mind which you were yearning, which you wanted at the end of the day. You wanted peace, you wanted happiness, but it's short-lived. So we need to understand that running after or a futile chase of the things which you want to earn, which anyway should be acquired at all cost, and we should work hard towards it, but that should not be the aim. We should also go back and listen to the seers and sages, their teachings, and all the knowledge that is mentioned in the spiritual texts or philosophical things. So there should be a balance in our life. That is what is the crux. Bhog and work is the the main thing. So sensual pleasures are not wrong, but then we need to understand that it should be enjoyed with understanding that this is not the entire truth or the complete truth, but liberation from this is also equally important. And that again brings out an important thing, that the human being, out of all the species that lives on this planet, are those who actually can achieve this. They can come out of this vicious cycle of life and death, which we are. And we just heard from Vijayji that we have had our previous lives. Even the babies that are born, they also dream, they also fear, they also feel joy. We can see their facial expressions and the signals. If we record that on EEGs, they are similar to those that a person who has been quite young and they are old. The dream signals are same. So that means that we're all dreaming. That means, and dreams are nothing but some activity that has to have a source or a root in the past. So we cannot ignore that. And this is equally, and this is very, very important, that we understand this and we try to find solutions to that. And the solutions have been provided by our seasoned sages, but we really need to go out and practice the teachings that they have prescribed as a solution for this. Yeah, thank you, Anuragji.
So, as rightly said, Hemanji, the three attributes of the soul, Iksha, Gyan, and Prayatna. There are two questions on this particular topic from our seekers, and I think both of them are very, very related. So a seeker asks about desire is something associated with soul, but there are desires every day for so many things. Are they all from soul, or man too has its own desire? And then there is a second question that I see. How do I differentiate between the desire of soul and that of man? So I think both are very much related to each other, and would like to come to you for some more light on this.
Actually, that's a very good question, and they both have philosophical touch here. As I just mentioned, Iksha Gyan Prayatna hai, Chinna Sachetan Jan, Jama Tinya Nahi Dishe, Takar Jad Kariman. As Sadhguru Shadafal Devji Maharaj mentioned in Swarved, that a soul inherently possesses these three attributes. So even if you are pure, when you are in the state of purity, which we call Hans Deha, even in that state, you have that inherent desire, you have ability to take an action, and then of course you have knowledge. So while you are liberated, you are not a part of this world. You live in the zone of consciousness. You are enjoying the pure experience. You are enjoying the bliss of the Lord. And that's what defines. Yet we still get a delusion. And we understand that we are part of Brahm, and that causes the first downfall. And the moment from Hans Deha we will go to Kaivalya, and from there we go to Mahakaran Sarir. Our desire, our thoughts, we think that we want to enjoy the pleasures of the world. So that thought, that desire becomes strong, strengthens within, and then you come to this world. Now, when you come to this world, soul being a conscious entity, and the world being made of atoms and molecules, which is inert by itself. Now, how would a conscious entity interact with this world? So then you get a mind. Mind is the only tool or a bridge that bridges between the conscious entity soul to this inert world which is made of atoms and molecules. Now, everything that soul now experience is through this mind. So first thing is that you already had those three attributes, right? And you wanted to. So, and second thing is that this soul also has a quality that it wants to continuously experience the world. It continuously wants to experience something. It cannot remain in in a state of inexperience at any point of time. So, and inherently, everyone wants or seeks pleasures, seeks happiness. Nobody wants misery or sorrow at any point of time. Now, when it starts interacting with this world, it needs mind. If it wants to do something, there is a mind. Mind is very, very fast, very active. So whatever you see and experience happens through mind. So the impurity and purity of mind suddenly comes into picture. So now the question is that what is governing us? It is the desire of the soul, or it's the mind that is also playing a critical role here. Now, because the mind also controls this body, we have had this chance to listen to the discourse in the past, where the mind basically is the one who rules this chariot called body, right? Indri Ashwa Aru Manarajju Buddhi Sarathi Jan Atmarathi Rathadev hai Triguna Bhavapath Gyan. So if you consider this body as chariot, the charioteer is your intellect, but the horses that runs this chariot is being controlled by the lagam, or the control that the rope that binds these horses is the mind. Now the mind becomes important because mind drives this chariot. So if your mind is pure and if it's going in good thoughts, then you go to the right direction in the righteous way. And if the mind is impure, then you may lose track and it may cause downfall. So now the desire comes into picture. Definitely, desire is something which is our inherent quality, and we want to achieve something in this world. We have ambitions. We work hard to get that. But only thing I would want to bring out here is that eventually the desire is coming from the soul itself. It's only through that it's being transmitted through the mind. That's all. So mind in itself also can think and act. If intellect also plays a role, because it tells you what's good and what's wrong. There's a discrimination. There's a power to understand what is good and what's wrong for you. But then again, mind becomes important, and mind plays a role in desires. Now, excessive desires, mind only runs after, let's say, Kam, Krodh, Mad, Lobh, and Moh. So it's whenever you have a lot of desires, lust, when you have a greed, and then you have emotions, and then so mind runs after these things. These are the inherent quality of a mind if it's impure. So when you say desire basically is the mother of anger, and so let's say if your desire is not fulfilled, then you become angry, and if the desire is fulfilled, then you get greedy. So now when you say these two things, when you were say anger or greedy, then here the mind comes into picture. When you are emotionally connected to someone, again the mind comes into picture. So somehow the desire, that was the inherent quality of the soul, which just wanted to experience the world, and of course you wanted to experience good thing, suddenly the mind, which you can imagine like a mirror, has now different colors, and you're seeing the world through that color. And desires again is refueling, or becomes the source or the mother of these two babies, which is anger and greed. And anger and greed is the attribute of mind. So suddenly the mind shows you something which may not be the inherent quality of the soul, which you never wanted angry. You never wanted to become angry, or you never wanted to become greedy or emotionally attached. Calm, Krodh,
so in that way, I think the state of mind and the state of soul and its attributes, I mean, it cannot be like, of course, as Sarvesh says, the soul, the attributes belong to soul itself, but having a deeper look into how brain works does help us in understanding this question properly, as you explained it. I'm running a bit short of time, so I'm sorry for interrupting you. But that was like enlightening for all of us, and I thank you for being a part of this Q&A session. Thank you very much, Hemanji.
Yeah, thank you, Anuragji.
Yeah, so I'd like to move to Rekhaji from USA for the concluding ceremony, for the concluding recitations of Shanti Path. Rekhaji, over to you.
Thank you, Anuragji, and Jai Shaktidev, everybody. Shanti Path. He Prabhu Shanti Swarup ho, Shanti Shanti Maya Shanti, Shanti Shanti Jana Shanti ho, Purna Shanti Maya Shanti. हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति. बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव की जय. Over to you, Anurag ji.
Thank you very much, Rekhaji, for this recitations and for the concluding prayers of the session. With this, we have moved towards the end of the sessions today. And I really thank all the seekers who are live and joined us and given their precious time for this session. I thank all the speakers globally, especially Hemanji and Vijayji, who has thrown light onto this particular aspect of topic of worldly desires and the futile chase. I understand this topic might need more elaboration, as I can see from the questions coming up on Slido. And we will like to continue on this particular aspect in a forthcoming week so that our seekers do have a proper clarity on these several aspects. So with that, I wish you all a prosperous life, a great health, and let's see each other via the same medium next weekend. At the very same time. Until then, Jai Sadgurudev to all.
Jai Sarvendra,